In December of 2025, the Trump administration designated fentanyl as a weapon of mass destruction. Is this action based upon how many people have been killed by fentanyl? I'd point out that alcohol kills more than twice as many people, and tobacco many more times than that. Why aren't those poisons classified as weapons of mass destruction? Will designating fentanyl as a WMD actually reduce opioid overdose deaths? Designating fentanyl as a WMD is just the most recent escalation of the war on drugs. Of course, history has shown us that wars on drugs have never been successful. The U.S. Congress declared war on alcohol in 1920, otherwise known as Prohibition. A nationwide ban on the importation, production, transportation, and sale of alcohol failed so terribly that Prohibition was repealed 13 years later. The war on marijuana began with state-level bans in the 1930s, leading up to President Nixon's infamous 1971 declaration of war on drugs, which heavily targeted marijuana and classifying it as a Schedule I drug. That war was lost so badly that marijuana is now legal or decriminalized in 31 states, covering almost 3 out of 4 Americans. What about the war on cocaine? Cocaine overdose deaths have risen dramatically since President George H.W. Bush cracked down in 1980. Methamphetamine? The government heavily regulated the sale of over-the-counter cough and cold medications containing decongestants such as pseudoephedrine, which is why you now have to show ID and can only buy limited amounts of cold medicines. Did that effort succeed? Well, it just shifted methamphetamine production to Mexico, where it is now completely lab-made and produced so cheaply that the cost of methamphetamine fell precipitously, dramatically spreading its use. The war on drugs has never worked except to produce mass incarcerations. However, prisons really represent finishing school for criminals. People who go to jail and prisons learn to be better criminals. Will designating fentanyl as a weapon of mass destruction reduce overdose deaths? Speaking as an addiction specialist, highly unlikely. Even if we succeeded in limiting access to fentanyl, it would just incentivize drug cartels to shift production to other non-fentanyl opioids such as nitazines, which can be much, much more potent than fentanyl. The real reason for designating fentanyl as a WMD is to give this administration an excuse to use military power to blow up boats and kidnap foreign leaders. The USA is using fentanyl as a weapon of mass distraction to exercise and justify foreign policies that may not be legal in the eyes of international law. In other words, it's not actually about fentanyl.